Well, come along, little children, come along. While the moon is shining bright,
Moon is shining bright.
get on board and down the river we'll go. We're gonna raise a ruckus tonight. Do it, Doug. Sing it with us if you want to. We said, come along, little children, come along. While the moon is shining bright,
Moon is shining bright.
get on board and down the river we'll go. We're gonna raise a ruckus tonight.
Well, trick or treat, come smell my feet.
Raise a ruckus tonight.
Well, the folks in the front got the best seat.
Raise a ruckus tonight.
Tonight we're going to election night.
Raise a ruckus tonight.
Well, there's nothing on the ballot that'll give you a fright.
Raise a ruckus tonight. We're gonna come along, little children, come along. While the moon is shining bright,
The moon is shining bright.
get on board and down the river we'll go. We're gonna raise a ruckus tonight. Play it, Paul. Got another one, Sam?
Tonight it's gonna rest the wheel.
Raise a ruckus tonight.
Fell upon my fallen heel.
Raise a ruckus tonight.
Well, I turned around to do my best,
Raise a ruckus tonight.
and I fell into a hornet's nest.
Raise a ruckus tonight.
We're gonna
Come along, little children, come along. While the moon is shining
while
bright,
the moon is shining bright.
get on board and down the river we'll go. We're gonna raise a ruckus tonight.
Well, hello. Welcome to Route 60 Saturday night. We're here at Route 60 Music on Page Street in Barboursville. I'm Michelle Lewis along with...
I'm Randy Yohe, and I'm just amazed by your frightfully wonderful outfit there. Let's give a hand for that outfit right there.
It is the Halloween season. We had to do something special tonight, Randy.
That's exactly right. Tonight's variety show features singer-songwriter Mark Zanter, and in the second half, we're happy to have Colleen Anderson and George Castelle.
And our show tonight is benefiting the Huntington Cabell Wayne Animal Shelter. They are dedicated to serving Cabell and Wayne counties by saving abandoned dogs and cats and placing them in loving homes.
They do care very much. They're passionate about animals and strive to provide those animals under their protection with the utmost care and compassion during their stays.
Well, again, welcome, and thank you for allowing us to do a little bit of good for the animal shelter. And I understand that they are looking for newspaper donations, too.
Aha.
So, thank you all the folks here at Route 60 Music. We're getting ready for a great show. So, if you're ready, we're ready, too.
Yep, thanks to Route 60 Music, Paul Calico, and Mike McCord, all the players. Let's get this show started.
Well, George was dead, and the last word he said was never let your woman have her way. Let your woman have her way, she's gonna run night and day. Never let your woman have her way. Do it, Joe. Well, if you love me like I love you, gonna place your little hand in mine and wrap your arms around me, love, and be forever mine. Hit it, Paul. Just how it feels, steady keeps dancing all the while. Dance, Sam. said George, but he's dead. And the last word he said was, don't put no shortening in my bread. Thank you, Dave Pickett, for teaching us that song.
Yes, sir, that's our house band. Paul, Sam, Randy, Michelle, Doug, Charlie, the 1937 Flood.
Thank you.
We just love them. And we love our special guest tonight. Mark Zanter, coordinator of music theory and composition at Marshall University School of Music, is an active composer and performer who has received commissions from diverse orchestras around the country. He's also appeared as a composer and performed on NPR's Live at the Landmark.
Dr. Zanter's works have been performed nationally and internationally at festivals such as Music X, the Cortona Contemporary Music Festival, the Atlantic Center for the Arts, and Echo Flux 14.
Heck of a lineup. He's the recipient of grants and awards from the American Society of Composers and Publishers, the American Music Center, the American Composers Forum, Meet the Composer, the West Virginia Division of Culture and History, and the West Virginia Music Teachers Association.
Now, as a performer, Mark is equally at home performing standard repertoire, creative music, and jazz inspired with orchestras, chamber groups, and improvisers. He says, I'm interested in the expression of an idea.
That's exactly right. He also says, in creating pieces through the observation of the inherent musical potential of my sound material. And in each piece, I invent processes that express this potential, generating context for their realization. In that sense, my music results from the interaction of observations, intuitions, and processes, rather than from a willful shaping of my materials.
So if you will, put your hands together and help us warmly welcome Dr. Mark Zanter.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Well, they said it all. Do I need to play? Okay, thank you all very much for coming out this evening, and thanks, Paul, for inviting me to do the event. I'm actually really honored to appear on the stage here on Route 60. I don't get the opportunity to perform much locally anymore. Usually doing concerts at the university or on whatever you heard, the festivals and so forth, which is a lot of fun. And this evening I'm going to do two compositions for you, strictly instrumental works though. And the first piece actually has a little bit of a story behind it. This first piece is entitled Blue. And I'm just going to check one more thing here while we get started, because always nice when your software is doing what you need it to do. Okay, so Blue is a piece that's actually inspired by a guitarist named Gary Moore. Does anyone know who Gary Moore is? Yes. And actually, Gary Moore's rendition of another work by Roy Buchanan, who's another guitarist. His heyday was maybe in the late 60s and 70s or so. And Gary Moore did a Roy Buchanan song called The Messiah Will Come Again. And I think Gary made kind of I guess you would say, he was the one who carried the history perhaps of that particular work. And if you've surveyed live performances of it, I hope that there's a point to this story, because I really don't want to bore you with it. But anyway, and the neatest thing about the tradition of his performance of that work is that a lot of the elements stay the same, a lot of the elements change per performance, right? It's just like 37 Flood plays or jazz artists play and so forth. And I really wanted to capture a lot of that in this particular work. So although I don't quote the Roy Buchanan piece, I've composed my own work entitled Blue. I try to capture this sense of a blues narrative, a kind of blues story that emerges throughout the piece. And I try to use sounds in this work that have a more, I guess, cinematic quality, because I want it to really, you know, Roy Buchanan has passed on, Gary Moore has passed on, and a lot of the, I wanted to kind of reach, if you will, kind of back into history. And I'm telling this part of the story because when my wife listened to the opening of the piece, she said, "Oh, that's really kind of spooky sounding." I said, "Well, I'm trying to create this atmosphere about this piece that kind of reaches back and creates a kind of, if you will, otherworldly kind of connection." And so I hope you enjoy this work entitled Blue.
Dr. Mark Zanter, very nicely done.
That was fun.
Oh, so so as I'm listening to you play, I'm thinking, how did a little Mark Zanter decide he wanted to end up doing this one day? Was it Chuck Berry? Was it Eddie Van Halen? Who was it that helped you kind of get turned on way by all the fingering on the guitar?
Oh, yeah, goodness. Sure, it was certainly Van Halen. I think, like, if I was going to identify the one person that actually really inspired me from the very early stages was, I think, I saw the Beatles and Ed Sullivan, if I can say that, but also it was I saw clips of, because back in the day they couldn't show the whole thing on TV, Jimi Hendrix on Monterey, the 67 Monterey Festival. And I think that's actually really what did it for me in the electric guitar, actually, at that point.
Had you been playing before that? Had you been playing a different instrument prior to that?
Yeah, actually I studied piano when I was younger, probably until about 3rd or 4th grade. And I always tell this to my students because I encourage them to play piano. As a composition or as a composer, you need to play piano. I just didn't. I had a teacher that just kind of set me the wrong way, and that kind of, set me on the path to guitar. So I guess for me that was a good thing. I hope.
From the Beatles and Hendrix, who inspires you now, Mark?
Well, this summer I had a project where I was writing this music, and I actually got to revisit quite a lot of players. And, for a long time, when I went to school, I studied classical guitar. So all of the players of that era, Segovia, Julian Bream, and so forth, were Christopher Parkening, were musicians I listened to. But this summer, like I said, I was listening to a lot of Gary Moore. I was listening to if I can get the whole list. Paul Gilbert was a guy I was listening to a lot this summer. Steve Vai, just trying to reconnect a little bit with some of that history of mine. I was writing about it, and I said, I thought I was going to do something really new for me, but it ended up being something that I've been doing for a very long time, actually.
So you've been playing, you've been staying busy, you've got more gigs coming up. Last night you were in Morgantown for a festival there. And you've got some. Where can we hear your music? Can we reach you on the internet, or I know you've got a number of CDs back at the merchandise table. Yeah,
well, let me plug the CDs first, because the CDs are there for your taking. If you'd like to take one, you're welcome to. I just ask that you give a donation to the cause for this evening. Whatever you feel is reasonable is fine. There are several CDs back there. The white CD is a jazz CD that I produced 2007 or 2008, somewhere around there. The green CD, get this one, it's going hot. It's the last one I have. It's called Letters to a Young Poet. That one is string quartets, string orchestra, a violin, guitar, and a cello quintet. There's a couple where I just have one piece on a compilation, Onyx. That one has a piece for flute and electroacoustic, and basically the flute version of what I just did, and another, I forget what the title of the one for Ablaze is, Millennial Masters or something like that. That one has a work for tuba. And then the other one is that baby blue one, Total Harmonic Distortion, only for the strong at heart. That's an improvisation group.
Same.
And that music is just free improvisation in the studio. We worked for 8 hours, recorded a bunch of stuff, and then just made a recording out of it. It's actually very good, but if you're not accustomed to listening to that music, it can be a little surprising.
We'll stretch it out. We're thrilled that you're here. You got one more tune for us, I know that. So once again, it's Mark Zanter.
Thank you. Okay. So this next work really doesn't need much of an explanation. It's entitled Groovy. It's a lot of fun piece, and normally I have my friend Steve Hall playing percussion with me, and Steve also teaches at Marshall. Brilliant percussionist, brilliant drummer, and but he can't always be with me, so I asked him to record parts for me, so that's who's playing all the percussion parts on this one.
Life Journey, Mark Zanter.
Some serious looping. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much.
And again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We are live, Facebook Living tonight, and if you haven't had a chance to help out the Huntington Cabell Wayne Animal Shelter, there's always time for you to do a little bit to help them. I know not only are they in need of supplies, food, cat litter, things like that, but also newspapers. So if you're in the area of the animal shelter, think about them and stop by and give them a little hand.
And it's very generous of Mark to say that you can take a couple of his CDs and donate to the cause tonight. Thank you very much for that, Mark. We appreciate it.
Yes.
If you're out and about and traveling, Mark will be in Bowling Green, Ohio on November 8th and in Champaign, Illinois on November 16th. But now, we got a house band right here. Proud to be the house band for Route 60 Saturday night. And so,
Well, we're thinking fall. You know, we've brought in a lot of autumn tunes for this evening on our part of the show. You ready?
so here they are once again, ladies and gentlemen, the 1937 flood.
Get it, girl.
At my door, the leaves are falling. A cold, wild wind has come. Sweethearts walk by together, but I still miss someone. I go out on a party to look for a little fun. I find a darkened corner, 'cause I still miss someone. Well, I never got over those blue eyes. I see them everywhere. I miss those arms that held me when all of the love was there. I wonder if he's sorry
this one's not a fall song, but it sort of feels right in the autumn. We're going to feature Randy Hamilton on this song. It's an old folk song. We once played up in Charleston. Well, we played in Charleston a lot of times, and we had one guy. You can always see when somebody's got a request, you know, because their face lights up and they're ready to tell you as soon as they have an opportunity. And then we played this song, and that face fell, and we thought, oh, darn, that was going to be his request. He came up during the break and said, I had a request, but you did it before I could ask for it. We said, I'm sorry. So this is it.
I am a poor, wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe. Yet there's no sickness, toil, or danger in that bright world to which I go. Going there to see my father. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home.
Do it, Doug.
I know dark clouds will gather around me. I know my way is rough and steep, yet beauty feels like just before me, where God's redeemed their vigils keep. Going there to see my mother. She said she'd meet me when I come. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home.
Tell us something, Paul.
Thank you.
Well, we have reached about the halfway of our show. We've got the headlining act still to come. We've really enjoyed the electronic music of Mark Zanter. And now, it's that time of year where you'd like to curl up with a good book in front of the fire, maybe have a cup of hot tea, cocoa, or something else in your mug. But also, it's a nice time to have a story, a good old story. And we have a storyteller right here, Randy Yohe. Won't you share a story with us?
Yeah.
First, hot off the presses, from my main man, there goes half my story.
Oh.
From my main man, Dave Bob Ball. Stand up, Dave, because you're the one that's in charge of the Jewel City Jam 5, which is coming up April 26 and 27, 2019. The lineup's been finalized, and it's leading off with Jaron Blind Boy Paxson. If you haven't heard Blind Boy Paxson, he's amazing. He'll play both nights. Strung Like a Horse, one of my favorites. The David Mayfield Parade, The String Assassins, my goodness. Professor Pennygood's Mighty Flea Circus, Rob McNerlin and the Beatnik Cowboys, Dave and Valerie Mayfield, The Laid Back Country Picker, I've just heard this guy, and Honey, String Therapy, Big Rock and the Candy Ass Mountain Boys, Of the Dell, wonder if they'll do all of Tommy again, Micah Scott, Tim Lancaster, Mike Ray, Nip and Tuck, and the 1937 Flood. So that's your lineup. Is the Facebook page still up? Jewel City Jam. You can take a look at all that stuff there. And the fiddler with three of these bands, Strung Like a Horse, The String Assassins, Nip and Tuck, Patty King, one of the best fiddle players you've ever seen, is going to try to play with all 17 acts, performing at least one song on the fiddle. So they're going to see, maybe the Guinness World Book guys will be there. Who knows? But that's Jewel City Jam. You'll hear more about it April 26, 27, 2019. And I'm lucky enough to host that once again. So, stories tonight, since the elections are coming up here shortly, and I know you love watching all those commercials right now. I tell you a couple of TV news reporter war stories, politics issues, and a little fun at the end. Why not? As a 30-year TV news veteran, I covered a little bit of politics here and there. Early on, when I was with WSAZ, early 1990s, they were just getting Habitat for Humanity started. And they had found a great spokesperson, actually two spokespeople. And this was the President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind. And they were starting to travel the country helping build some of the first Habitat for Humanity homes. So they were going to work on a home that was right down in Pikeville, Kentucky. I was pretty new to the area and still learning, as a boy that grew up in Detroit and covering the Hatfield-McCoy feuding area, I was still getting used to Eastern Kentucky and such. But I really got a hold of the PR people for Habitat for Humanity, the PR people for Jimmy Carter, and I had a live, we just started the 5 o'clock news, the first at 5, and I had a live interview with Jimmy Carter scheduled for first at 5. I'd worked on this for months, and finally, time had come, and we were going to be right on top of a roof, putting in shingles, with the knee pads on and the whole bit, and Carter was going to be up there, and that's where we were going to do the interview while we were nailing shingles on the roof. Had a camera up there. This is early 1990s, okay? So Carter gets there about 4:30 and comes with a big entourage, and because this is a big thing, there's national reporters that are traveling with him. And everybody has a 5 o'clock hit, other stations, but no, I'd set this up earlier, and they were trying to yank him away every way from Tuesday. Well, his PR people stuck to their guns and said, no, this young man has called us and taken care of us for the last couple of weeks, and he is set up at 5 o'clock live, and he's going to go as long as he wants, do whatever he wants. And Rosalind came up and she said, that's exactly right. I talked to that young man, and he was just a nice guy. So, I mean, I was bowled over. So we actually did it. We did the interview. We nailed down the shingles. It went well, and I was thrilled. And these national reporters were just boiling over. They wanted him bad. They wanted to get their pictures. They didn't want me in it, and too bad, because I got them anyways. And another story is, just a couple of years ago, our current Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, was campaigning for office. Yeah, I'll do this one. He was down in Floyd County, and he was at a big old plant that worked on coal trucks. You know, a repair shop, a giant repair shop, because coal trucks are big. So he gave his speech, and we get a quick one-on-one. And Mitch doesn't really like local reporters. So I don't know if he likes any reporters a whole lot, but he certainly doesn't like local reporters. And you got to do some weaseling to try to get him before he gets back on his bus or his limo or whatever he is. So I came up and I had one question. I prepared for it for a week. This one question, not three like you're supposed to have, not two, one question. I said, Senator McConnell, yes, you've talked all about coal and we understand coal jobs, but there are a number of people that are concerned about the environment as well, about global warming, about climate change, about possibly that mountaintop removal is fouling our creeks and our streams. And he said, well, the economy is following the jobs for the coal miners as well. I mean, he diverted, didn't answer the question whatsoever, diverted right back to the economy and coal miners. And I said, but let me ask you one more time. But I almost stepped on his foot so he couldn't get away. And I said, there are constituents right here. There are people in Floyd County. There are people throughout Kentucky that care about the environment. Just, you talked about the economy. Just tell us one thing about the environment. Tell us what you're going to do and what you're going to do to help it. Diverted right back again. I tried it for a third time. Diverted the third time as well, and then pivoted like a son of a gun and just got out of there. So that night on the news, and I hadn't really done this before, I don't know if I did it since, but I aired the question and answer, and all three of them. And the news director said, go ahead. And that's what you heard. You heard him divert, that never answered the environmental question. That's pretty much where the story ends. It's not always what an even-keeled journalist does, but he wouldn't answer the darn question.
A scary
Telling you what.
political story.
Not nice. But when talk about coal, it was in the early 1990s, and they had some coal mine strikes way down in the coal fields. Rough place to deal with. And they did what was called a horse and buggy strike, where they got horses and buggies out and dressed in period clothing from the late 19th century and said, that's what you owners are doing, you're setting us back 100 years. And so we were down there to cover this coal mine strike, and I'm one-man banding. I got my camera, I got my microphone, and it's just me, okay? And there's a reporter from Mountain News that's down there in the coal fields and an AP reporter from the local newspaper. So they're getting ready for the whole horse and buggy parade, and there's 4 or 5 coal miners that are standing over here, and they yelled over there, which one of you guys is from Channel 3? And I said, oh, that would be me. Oh, look, I'm going to get a scoop. I'm going to get something great. So I come walking over to them, and they kind of all of a sudden surround me and go, hey, we heard what that guy said in the commentary last night. We didn't like it. We don't think you should be here right now. I suggest you get out of here right away if you know what's good for you. One guy opened his coat and had a gun. The other guy opened his coat and had a knife and showed me the gun and the knife. And were implying that they were going to use them on me if I stayed around. So I left. I said, I started to walk away, and as I walked in, I walked by, there was a lot of state police down there. This is one big state police sergeant, and he saw me walk in. Well, all of a sudden he saw me grab my camera before everything started and start to walk out. He goes, Yohe, what are you doing? And I told him, I said, these guys said, get out of here, and so on. I didn't say gun and knife. I didn't want to say something like that. He says, do you want to stay here and cover this? And I said, yeah. He said, all right. And he put 2 state policemen on both sides of me, and they stayed with me the whole story. I never covered a story with a state policeman on either side of me, and those guys were burning. So the AP reporter goes, what's going on here? And I give him an idea. So he writes a story about me. And the last thing you want to do is be the story. You're going there to cover the story. You don't want to be the story, So it was a little weird. And then I had to go back and explain it all. And I never did want to say gun and knife, and I don't think I've ever told anybody that till now. One other coal mine strike. At that same strike, we'd heard that there were some guys that were throwing jack rocks, which I guess are big pieces of wood that are covered in nails, and they were tossing them back and forth from management and they had closed up a place, some people were hurt. So we darted down there. We're driving a station wagon back then, and I was with the late Millard Aldrich, my photographer. Well, we got up there, parked the car, started to head into where those guys were, and Millard got the camera, and he's out first, and I'm getting the microphone, and as he sees these 3 guys, and they're wearing these duster coats, the long coats that go down here like old Western dusters. Well, and as he sees them walking, he sees open, and they all have shotguns and rifles, and they're walking at us. Miller pivots like a son of a gun. He says, Yohe, let's get out of here. And I don't want anybody coming at me with a shotgun and a rifle. So we go down the road. I set Millard up in the back of the station wagon with the hatch up, so he's just back there cross-legged with his camera. And we came driving by, and they're yelling, and that's the way we got our video for that particular story. You got to do what you got to do. And we brought it back and then explained it in that way. Those coal mine strikes were tough. Finally, the little fun part is mules. I love to do stories about mules. I love mules. For some reason, I just learned about them. And when Rob McNernland was here, one of the first stories I ever did was with his father and grandfather that had mules down on their farm in Boyd County, Kentucky. But we found out that they were laying these fiber optic cables in Floyd County, Kentucky, and laying them through the mountains. Well, they couldn't get the poles up there for the cables in this thick wooded hills. They couldn't bulldoze them in. They couldn't truck them in. It was too expensive to helicopter in. How do you think they got those poles and fiber optic cables up there? They used mule teams. And so I thought it was a great juxtaposition of this modern technology, and the only way to get it done was with a mule team. So I won a first place AP award for that. And finally, one of the first stories that I ever did when I was at the University of Missouri, I'm just as green as grass reporter, and they send me to the Missouri State Fair, and they say, find some stories. Well, there's two things going on at the fair that piqued my interest. One thing was the diving aqua mules. And I said, what? Yeah, they put these mules up on these platforms about 20 feet above a giant pool, and then drop that thing, the little latch drops, and down they go. And they did okay. But the one that was even more interesting, the final story here, was the coon dog water races. And I said, what's this? Well, there's two long rows of water that go about, 80 feet. Okay, and they're about, 5 feet wide. There's two poles at one end and a string and a cord and a basket. And there's a raccoon in both baskets. And so they got these, and these are these trained coon dogs, that no coons like no one's business anyways. So the whole point is for these guys to wheel down, and the one that swims in the water and trees the coon at the other end of the pole wins. So this one dog won, and his name was Lightning. So I wanted to interview him afterwards. So I'm one-man band again. I set the camera up, and the owner brings Lightning over to him, and I kneel down next to the dog. And right before then, I had grabbed, I don't know why or what, but I grabbed a hamburger from a guy, and I took a piece out of that hamburger and I jammed it into my ear. Okay? So I got a bunch of hamburger jammed in my ear, and I got Lightning on this side, and I'm shooting this, and I saw. All right, here I am with the winner. It's Lightning. He just won the coon dog water race, and I'm going, Lightning, what stroke did you use to win that race? And I leaned over, and he ate that hamburger out of my ear. It looked just like he was talking to me. And I said, of course, he did the dog paddle.
Ladies and gentlemen, our storyteller, Randy Yohe. Gotta be smarter than the old coon dogs. Thank you, Randy.
Hit it, Paul. Come on. Here's another autumn song before we get to Colleen. This is maybe the ultimate autumn song.
The fallen leaves drift by my window. The autumn leaves are red and gold. I see your face, the summer kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days go long. Soon I'll hear a winter song. I miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves begin to fall.
Do it, Paul.
The fallen leaves drift by my window. The autumn leaves of red and gold. I see your face, the summer kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days gone long. Soon I'll hear a winter song. I miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves begin to fall.
Yeah, Lewis.
Michelle Lewis in the 1937 flood and autumn leaves. We're falling right now.
Falling right now.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Hey, Randy, we've got our headlining acts. I am so excited to introduce Colleen Anderson and George Castelle. This is exciting.
Big time. Colleen was born in Bay City, Michigan, and discovered the Mountain State when she left her studies at Western Michigan University Honors College, a Bronco, to temporarily serve with Vista in Cabin Creek, West Virginia. There she helped start Cabin Creek Quilts, a cooperative of 150 low-income quilters. Following 15 months of volunteer service and a year of work as an editor, Colleen returned to college, this time at West Virginia University, where she received a BA in English in 1975.
And then, 25 years later, she earned a master's degree in humanities, this time from Marshall University. So I guess she bleeds blue and gold and green and white. Oh, yeah. Colleen's been self-employed as a writer and designer since 1975. She formed Mother Wit Writing and Design in 1983. Her creative studio has earned numerous honors, including West Virginia Communicators Best of Show Award, several first-place awards from the National Federation of Press Women.
Her stories and poems have been published by the Penn Syndicated Fiction Project, by Red Book, Embers, Kestrel, Arts and Letters, Passenger, Carolina Quarterly, The Sun, and many other periodicals. Meanwhile, her beautiful songs have been featured on Public Radio International's Mountain Stage and the Folk Sampler, and she's produced 2 albums of original songs, Fabulous Realities in 1991 and Going Over Home in 2001.
Over the past 2 decades, she's frequently performed with guitarist George Castelle, who for several decades was chief public defender in Kanawha County, where he still works on a part-time basis. Colleen's song, West Virginia Chose Me, is included in several anthology recordings of West Virginia music, and 2 others have won the Footmad Songwriting Contest.
They've also qualified for the semifinals in the Mountain Stage New Song Performing Songwriter Competition. So, help us welcome Colleen Anderson and George Castelle.
You know, after all that, we're going to sound a little lame.
Oh, now stop.
I guess my songs are like storytelling, sort of. And this story comes from New Mexico. I was out at the Helene Wurlitzer Foundation for 3 months in 2007. And Wurlitzer Foundation has some Wurlitzer instruments, and our little casitas, some of them had grand pianos in them. And there was a guy who came around and tuned the pianos named Al. And one time he invited me and some other people up to his little studio way up, we would say way up a holler. They call it a canyon there. And he was living completely without electricity or running water, but he had a very, very wonderful house that he had built and a little studio in back where he repaired pianos. And so this story is about Al and his pianos. Way up the canyon, off the grid, in a room he made of straw and mud, they stand like aged refugees with wrinkled skin and crippled knees. Between them 7 centuries and upwards of 500 keys. Tired and out of tune, they wait to meet an old piano's fate. He touches them with healing hands, the uprights and the baby grands, and Al's pianos cry. A battered babe with smoker's scars, who's done her time in whiskey bars. A righteous elder, black and trim, imbued with many a Baptist hymn. A grande dame from the concert stage, with half her ivories worn away. One by one this gentleman is teaching them to sing again. He touches them with loving hands, the uprights and the baby grands, and Al's pianos play. The canyon nights are still and deep Beneath the stars, the world's asleep. But sometimes in the dark of night, he comes to see if they're all right. And when he has a troubled mind, he sits and lets his fingers find the rich and complicated chords that say the things too deep for words. He touches them with holy hands, the uprights and the baby grands, and Al's pianos pray.
George Castelle.
So now we're back in West Virginia, and I wrote this song sort of for my hiking buddies in the Kanawha Trail Club, and so that's what it's about. Let me walk in the woods, let me wander free, with the holly and the hickory and the dogwood tree. Let the old oak shade me, let the maple blaze. Let me walk in the woods till the end of my days. Let me live in these mountains, let me stay in this beautiful place. Let me live in these mountains, let me live in these hills till the end of my days. You can sing that chorus with me. I'd love it if you did. Let me stop by a river where clear water springs in the cool of the evening when the wood thrush sings. Let the rush of the water be my song of praise. Let me live by a river till the end of my days. Let me live in these mountains, let me stay in this beautiful place. Let me live in these mountains, let me live in these hills till the end of my days. Let me lie down to sleep in a peaceful night where the air smells sweet and the stars shine bright. And when my time has come and I've run my race, let me rest in these hills at the end of my days. Let me live in these mountains, let me stay in this beautiful place. Let me live in these mountains, let me live in these hills till the end of my days. Let me live in these mountains, let me stay in this beautiful place. Let me live in these mountains, let me live in these hills till the end of my days. Thank you. So this next song came from the therapist's couch. Well, it wasn't a lying down kind of couch. I was just sitting on it. But what I said to the therapist was something like, "Men, I'm through with them. I'll never fall in love again." And she said, "Your sap will rise." So it led to a song. When the days are dark and the nights are cold, when the trees are bare, standing up like bones, in the deepest winter, all covered with snow, the sap is gonna rise, the sugar's gonna flow. Spring will come if you only believe. Gonna push out the buds, gonna green up the leaves, gonna blossom and bloom, gonna hum with the bees. Spring will come if you only believe. And the seasons come and the seasons go. It's a circle game, it's an ebb and flow. Mother Nature has her own way to know. The sap is gonna rise, the sugar's gonna flow. When you're all alone and you just want to cry, when you're far from home, when the well's gone dry, don't you give up hope, go on and dry your eyes. In its own good time, the sap is gonna rise, and the roots go deeper in the time of drought. You're gonna be alright, there ain't no doubt. Keep breathing in and breathing out. The sap is gonna rise, the sugar's gonna flow. The sap is gonna rise, the sugar's gonna flow.
Nice. Oh, what a beautiful song. Oh, Colleen. It sounds like you got started as a wordsmith more than anything. Is that on the money? Or?
You know, I was an art major to
Uh-huh.
start with, and then I realized how much work that was. So somewhere in the middle of the first semester, I switched to English because, you know, I was going to read anyway. And so, yeah, that's how it started.
Did you play an instrument?
Never. Well, no, I took piano lessons forever when I was a child. But I just, you know, and I think, you know, something stuck there, but I don't play the piano now, unfortunately.
I know you recently played tambourine. It's not a piano, but
No.
you not too long ago played the Brigus Blueberry Festival in Newfoundland.
Yes, George's ancestral home.
Is that right?
Brigus, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I like it up
What
there.
was coolest about it?
The blueberries.
And it made us be able to call ourselves international performing artists.
Wow. I don't know how to follow that. You go.
Well, I got to meet you 15 or 20 years ago at West Virginia Public Broadcasting. That's one of the wonderful things about being involved with that wonderful group of people. Colleen, you're the voice right now of This Week in West Virginia History. So
Yes.
thank you for helping to educate our younger folks. And
I'm only the voice. I don't write them.
sometimes the older folks learn a thing or two as well about our state history. But I'm wondering, of all the years that you've been performing, writing, what's a standout, a person that you got to work with, that you met, that was just like, wow, I can't believe I got to meet and work with them?
Well, I think it would be Bob Franke, the songwriter. I took a class at that college down in North Carolina where they have the Swananoa gathering. And I took a class from Bob Franke, and man, that guy could drag a good song out of anybody. And I just loved being around him. So I would say that was a high point.
Super, super.
What are some of your hopes for the coming months and years? What will we see Colleen Anderson be doing?
Trying to preserve her, trying to keep walking, trying not to completely get old.
You've got some more gigs lined up?
No.
Okay.
Actually, we're, maybe Taylor Books sometime soon, but actually we don't play out much. So this is like a huge honor and a thrill.
Well, no, the honor is all ours. And so now you have a couple more for us. With George Castelle, one more time, Colleen Anderson.
George, I love your playing. I hope you play a few more for us, too.
So here we are with an old song, but a favorite to sing. Someone's always leaving here. It's just that kind of place. It's just that kind of world today. You learn to live with loss. The grass is always greener there, just on the other side. The air is always cleaner there. The sky is twice as wide. I'm not the type to argue. I won't say it isn't true. It's just the kind of place for passing through. Tom's in California now, and John's up north in Maine. Will went down to Raleigh, says he won't be back again. Annie's in Chicago, and she likes it by the lake. And even Katie crossed the border, finally made her break. And if I had $1 for every time I've said goodbye, there's nothing in this world I couldn't buy. But a few of us are staying, and it's not a point of choice. It's not we who do the choosing. We are chosen by the place. And West Virginia chose me, sure as my own mother knows me. If I leave you, West Virginia, it don't matter where I roam. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm coming home. They say home is where the heart is, and I guess that's true enough. But the heart's a stubborn muscle, and there's no explaining love. I dream of higher mountains and a cottage by the sea, but West Virginia won't let go of me. And a few of us are staying, and it's not a point of choice. It's not we who do the choosing. We are chosen by the place. And West Virginia chose me, sure as my own mother knows me. If I leave you, West Virginia, it don't matter where I roam. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm coming home. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm coming home. So we're going to finish up with a song that I wrote for my, well, it's complicated. It's another New Mexico song. I spend a little time every year that I can at Ghost Ranch in New Mexico. And they have these sheep there. It's a working ranch as well as an arts retreat. And they have these sheep that are, it's a Navajo breed, I believe, called the churro. They have curly horns and long hair. They're very pretty. And a friend challenged me to write a song about the sheep. She was an artist, and she had done this beautiful print of a sheep. So to sort of, she gave me the print, and I was going to do something for her. But at the same time, my parents were both they were failing, and I knew that they weren't going to be with me forever. So it's sort of a lullaby for my parents, except that they probably never went to New Mexico. So all the imagery is from New Mexico, but it's a lullaby for my folks. Weave me a cape from the wool of the churro, make me a blanket of gold. If you must go and cause me such sorrow, leave me something to hold. Sleep now, your troubles behind you, never again need you roam. Fear not, the shepherd will find you, and surely will carry you home. Weave me a picture of high country desert in colors both subtle and bold. The canyons and mesas we've wandered together, the skies where the thunder clouds roll. Sleep now, your troubles behind you, never again need you roam. Fear not, the shepherd will find you, surely will carry you home. Weave me a story of all that we've weathered, growing from young love to old. A lifetime of memories mingled together, gathered like sheep in the fold. Sleep now, your troubles behind you, never again need you roam. Fear not, the shepherd will find you, surely will carry you home. Sleep now, your troubles behind you, never again need you roam. Fear not, the shepherd will find you, and surely will carry you home. Thank you so much.
Colleen Anderson, George Castelle, making such beautiful music for us tonight. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank everybody that donated tonight to the Cabell Wayne Animal Shelter. We really appreciate it. They'll appreciate it. We'd like to thank you for coming out tonight. A big hand for both of our guest stars tonight, for Colleen Anderson and for Mark Zanter.
Thank you, Mark Zanter. Yeah.
You can't say we don't embrace diversity. Speaking of diversity.
It's our last autumn song. Very appropriate. It's an October song. It's an old Irish lullaby. Maybe help you sleep tonight. The October wind laments around the castle of Dromore, yet there's peace within her lofty hall. loving treasure store. Autumn leaves will droop and die, but a bud of spring are you. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo, lo-lay. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo. Play it, Doug. Let no ill will to hinder us, my loving babe and me. Dread spirits of the black water, Clan Owen's dread banshee. Lady Mary pitying us, heaven all grace thus soon. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo, lo-lay. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo. Get it, Paul. Take time to grow, my ray of hope, in the garden of Dromore. Take heed, young eaglet, till thy wings are feathered fit to soar. A little time and then the world is full of work to do. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo, lo-lay. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo, lo-lay. Sing ha-shabay-doo, la-loo.
October wins. And again, thank you so much for coming and helping us raise some money for the animal shelter here. in
Fantastic,
Huntington.
fantastic night right here. We like to make sure you look back on Facebook and check our website, route60saturdaynight.com. Tell friends about and share our fun show. Again, we're grateful to you for your support for the Huntington Cabell Wayne Animal Shelter.
And thank you, Mike McCord, Paul Calico, Mike Bennett, all the players. Again, Mark Zanter, Colleen Anderson.
So thanks so much. Drive home very safely. We'll see you the third Saturday in November. And good night.